So I have a question about some manifestations that I did have, and I was aware of these on the back end after the fact that actually happened. So I had an experience of a channeling.
So that's a nice thing that you're aware of it on the back end. We like those words too. We want you to associate the back end with the front end, because when you acknowledge how you set it up, when you acknowledge that it was the soft alignment on the front end that then allowed the connection on the back end, now you've got it. But without those two connections, you aren't deliberate. You're just responding to a happy circumstance, and that's not deliberate creation. That's knee-jerk.
Yes, yes, yes. So I had this situation where a client of mine posted something very private on her Facebook page, and I was landing in Las Vegas at the time, and I was very happy I will be there because it was actually a time of transition, a birthday of her son who transitioned a long time ago. And since I feel connection with her, I felt happy to be there, not to comfort her, just to be there with her.
Well, we're glad that you clarified that, because we felt comfort on the stick.
Yes, it was not
happy to be there because you're saying no and we're saying yes. Happy to be there because, in other words, you wouldn't even needed to have brought that up if it really wasn't part of the vibrational equation. This is the clarification that we're offering. In other words, happiness is one thing. Happiness to overcome sadness is a muted happiness. Can you feel the distinction?
Yes.
It's subtle. This is mastery of this. Yes?
So I see the picture and all I'm thinking is I'm so happy that I'm here today.
Why?
There was no reason why.
Yes, there was. Why? To
To
give her support.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about.
Gotcha. Got it. So interesting thing happened.
I'm happy to be here so that I can help her out during this time of maybe a little exaggerated or emphasized awareness. Yeah. Yeah. But you see, your inner being would never have such a thought, because there's resistance in that thought. It's all right that you have that thought, but you're asking for mastery about this.
Yes, yes, yes.
So when you catch yourself in that thought, what do? How might you clarify that? In other words, sort of like Esther discovering that her tree's been knocked down. How do you take the bounce from that? What might you do to clarify in that moment on the front end? On the front end, what might you do?
Alignment, I just focused on how much I enjoy spending time with her.
Yeah.
The reason of being with her, loving teaching her how to dance, loving just being with her and spending time with her.
Yeah.
That was the follow-up thought.
Yeah.
So
Then what happened?
So the day after, I give her a regular hug, so to speak. You know, I communicate like that
because?
Just because I love people. I in general love hugging people.
Yeah.
And
do they need your hug?
No.
Is it a sort of mutual thing?
Yes, always
Yeah.
mutual thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and the moment that this hug was a little bit longer.
Yeah. Yeah, because you had extra intention here of soothing.
Yes.
And comforting.
And then after the interaction, what ended up happening, I had a thought of bringing it up to her a couple of hours later to mention to her that I was aware what day was in question.
Oh, yeah.
And she said that it's very interesting you're bringing that up because I didn't want to hug you for too long because I didn't want it to feel weird, but I almost felt like I was hugging my son. So that was a very interesting experience. That thought did cross my mind, but then only after she brought it up, it became a reality at that moment.
There is this thing that humans do. Esther brought Jerry back to life in so many dreams. Mm-hmm. She put him back in his body and then praised him for being back in his body. In her dream, she'd say, "You look so good. You look better than I ever remember you looking, as a matter of fact. You look really, really good." But she had to overcome that desire to make the non-physical a physical experience before she could really have the relationship with him as he now is. In other words, that desire to manifest in a physical way the non-physical energy still is resistant in nature. There's a bit of unwillingness to accept where they really are and a desire to bring them forth, you see.
I understand.
We know
on
you
her
do.
end, yes.
Yours
yes.
as well.
Very good. Yes, on mine as well, yeah. Yes. So even the
Nothing
fact that
wrong with any of that,
yeah,
but feel the clarification that we're making here. In other words, there's still yearning in that is resistant in nature. And that yearning prevents the true connection with who he really is and where he really is and how he really is now. It's a yearning to bring him back into the physical, where I can utilize my physical senses for the experience. And oh, what that indicates is that there's not yet quite, for most physical humans, Esther too, from time to time, to really feel the non-physical nature of your being, you see. Everything that we're talking about is to help you reemerge into this non-physical energy, for you to raise your vibration so that you are fully in connection. And what you keep wanting is for non-physical to come down where you are and give you a hug. And what non-physical wants is for you to just let your vibration rise with no dependency on someone else, just reveling mutually in the awesomeness of life.
Yes, like when I was on a boat in Barcelona a couple of weeks ago when I got here, and in this beautiful tourist boat we're laying down, and little breeze, and seeing Barcelona from the boat, and then this guy pulls up the clarinet and he starts playing it, and I think of my late grandfather and stories of them saying, my mom saying that he used to play both clarinet and saxophone, and me feeling like, oh, I really would like to know how this guy sounded on his instrument. And the player pulling up the saxophone to play right after. And I said, well, I am getting this moment. It was so easy.
So you're bringing up some things, and there are wonderful things, and we really want to clarify this, because there's a possibility of us having been a bit misunderstood here as we are fine-tuning with you because of your leading edge beingness and questions. Non-physical wants to interact with you in so many ways, and does. And when you meet non-physical in those moments, you have those moments of recognition. We just want you to be aware that non-physical, whether it's your uncle or your father or your son or your whoever it is that is in consciousness joining you, never, ever, ever is the joining happening to support you, because there is no doubt in your ability. In other words, non-physical doesn't swoop in to save you or support you. Non-physical adores you and acknowledges your power. And when you're in those moments, that's when you have those moments. Think about what you just said. What was on the front end? Oh, you were blissing. You were on the water in a beautiful city. You would put yourself into a reclined position. You were in love with life and in love with those who were around you. You were tuned in, tapped in, turned on. You weren't yearning for anything. And then non-physical expressed consciousness in a way that you received it, not because you needed it, but because the blissful moment in time that you were experiencing and the vibrational nature of your being allowed you that connection. And feel the difference between that and that long lingering hug that you were talking about earlier.
Yes, there is a big difference in that.
Humans keep looking for support. And in your looking for support, your emphasis is upon your weakness. And when your emphasis is upon your weakness, you can't receive the support that's being offered. That's how it gets all tangled up. Esther used to argue with us, Abraham, so if I don't need money, you'll send me money, right? And if I don't need support, then you'll give me all the support I need. What kind of a parent are you? And we would say, we're the real deal. We're always there for you, but you must meet us where you belong, not ask us to meet you in your weakness.
You mean in step 4 and 5 at all times?
Well, just as often as you can. Step 3 is in that state of alignment. And step 4 is stabilizing there and doing it on purpose and understanding the difference. And this leading edge conversation that we're having, there are few people on the planet that could comprehend what you all are getting in this conversation, because so many people are thinking law of attraction, you get what you think about, and so they're just out there saying the words while they don't feel it. Their words and their music don't match. Esther says, I'm going to make an album, and it's going to be called The Words Don't Match the Music. And it's going to be this really macabre, terrible sounding music. And it's going to say, I love life. I'm so happy. And then there's going to be this really, really, really happy, happy music and words, I want to kill myself. She just thinks that that would be so good for people to get an idea that you want your words and your music to match. And so what you want to do is find your feeling and then let everything flow from that, you see. Let the way you feel be what matters. And you have that and that and that and that. You are a born uplifter. It's who you are. You radiate that. But what happens? You are a born uplifter, but when you step into your teacher mode, then as a teacher, you're often looking for the trouble that you're wanting to help someone overcome. And as soon as they make you aware of their trouble, now they have introduced resistance into your equation, and now you're not the teacher you were born to be. Now you're the supporter and the listener to their problem. And we know that's not your nature, and you don't let it stay there very long. But this conversation certainly has pointed out the mastery of that distinction, yes?
Very subtle, yes. And this brings me to the last piece I had for today about the actual no words energy or heart exchange in communication. Because I find that, you know, in some of the, when I'm in alignment, that, you know, words are coming from other side. The uplifting part can come from the other side without even offering the conversation. I had some of those experiences where if I'm tuned in and I have a conversation, I don't even have to use the words in any sense to offer.
But hear what the tripping thing is in that, just a little bit. Start with the, not just assumption, the absolute knowing that, like you, whoever this is you're talking about also has direct communication with source energy. So if you are in any moment in time looking for the joyful experience of your alignment, then you'll be that for them. But if you've got them in your sights, now you're introducing resistance into the equation. You got to let your help for others be only about your own alignment with your own inner being. It's your example of alignment that is your gift to others. But so many teachers want to use that alignment and then shine a spotlight on helping someone move from a less aligned place to a more aligned place, and then you're less aligned. And you want to say, really, Abraham, you want me to be that selfish? You want me to be so selfish that I have no awareness of their problem? And we say, their inner being focuses not on their problem. Why would you? Their inner being is not focused upon their problem. You say, yeah, that's why they feel lost. Their inner being isn't focused on their problem, and they're not focused on their inner being. So I'll be a surrogate. I'll get tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and then I'll help them move. And we say, no, you won't. No, you won't. How are you doing out there? How do you feel about this? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Going to get tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and then. And so sometimes when you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and then, impulses come to you, but they are not the kind of impulses that you were describing just now. Let's say that someone's in your awareness. Maybe it's someone you're teaching dance to. And let's say that they are feeling insignificant or insecure about something, and you caught a little glimpse of that. And what happened when you caught a little glimpse of that? You felt the diminishment of your own connection, because your inner being didn't catch a little glimpse of that. Your inner being is looking in their vortex. Your inner being is looking where they're going. Your inner being is knowing who they really are. But you let them dissuade you for a moment from where they're going and who they really are into who they were being in a moment. And so you took a little vibrational hit on that. And that's the thing that we want you to get so tuned in, tapped in, turned on. We want you to be so exhilarated about dance and so exhilarated about life and so into your own connection that you just draw others into that, because one who is there is more powerful than millions who are not, you see. But what happens to so many of you, you're there and then you step into your teacher's modality, and as a teacher then you want to take someone by the hand and lead them somewhere else, and we say their inner being is not taking them by the hand. And as humans you want to say, well, their inner being should take them by the hand. Why is their inner being not taking them by the hand? Because their inner being is in a place of non-resistance, and so their inner being just keeps guiding them through the path of least resistance to be in the presence of someone like you who's tuned in, tapped in, turned on. Their inner being brought them to you so that you could demonstrate alignment, and there you are demonstrating alignment, and then dun dun dun, you become a teacher. let me help you with your self-esteem. We're giving you more than you deserve here. We are exaggerating this slight resistance because of the power of your desire to understand this. Yes. You are as good as we've seen at uplifting, and we really mean that. We just want you to understand that this question that you have is because you're not selfish enough to care only about your own alignment. Abraham, really? You tell me I'm a born uplifter, and yet I have to care only about my own alignment? Yes. Because if you don't care only about your own alignment, you're going to keep looking at where they are, and you're not going to be as aligned as you could be. And then you're going to be giving people long hugs in the parking lot.
Really good.
Enough?
Really good, yes.
This is a very good time for a segment of refreshment.